sounds like I'm under fire. It's dark and sunset, still 7 hours away. Well, no, 6 hours. You can't really see it here, but there's hailstones. Can't really see how heavy the rain is. Chance that's probably a setting that will excuse me, good start, help out. Apologise for the murky surroundings, but there you go. Well, the most obvious and most pointless thing. Actually, you know what, before I go on any further, if anyone thinks that what's going to come next in the next few minutes, or however long it takes me to ramble incoherently, just refer to what apparently is trending, or what turns up in my recommendations on YouTube. Yesterday, some YouTube couple, number one trending, 1 point something million views, apparently a dog's died that they were importing from Russia. I don't know the full story, and you know, I'm sorry for their loss. But the description of the video is like, we have to explain ourselves. No, you don't. You don't need to put everything on YouTube and like muggins here, because I realistically know I'm never going to appear on trending unless I run for Prime Minister. Well, I'm not going to run for Prime Minister, which is why I'm establishing Lord Emperor GB. And some video came on today saying something like my first kiss. And I thought, what the fuck? And it's like teenagers, and this girl was saying, you know, yeah, basically, otherwise, that's what it says on the tin. I didn't watch the whole bloody thing, I only watched 2 seconds. And it's got a live chat, because, you know, with some videos, if you premiere them, you know, you get the chat down the side, like I tried doing with some of my videos, and I was the only one on the chat. But the comments were like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Not one person was going, why is this relevant? Oh god. Anyway, on that rather enlightened note, I can't. Yeah. Look at that. Oh god, this is what my life has become. It's been a gradual descent into mundane shittiness since I graduated from university 12 years ago this December. Absolute shit. But until today, I had gone the longest without shaving since late 2009 into 2010, when I was doing a so-called return to work with one of these governmentally contracted companies, and you spent 13 weeks on it, and I think mine started towards the end of October, and I finished by about, well, probably the end of January. I didn't do every single day of it, because faced with it, I was determined to not spend as much time there legitimately. Like, somebody had claimed they had severe mental health issues and would commit suicide if they carried on with the course, and I wasn't going to use my mental illness as a crutch. So I got into the National Archives volunteering, and that was on the Thursday and Friday, so I ended up doing 3 days a week. And then that was the winter. It snowed quite heavily. Like, I think that was the first time we had snow on the ground at Christmas in my lifetime that I can remember anyway. And coincidentally, actually, last Christmas with Granny and Granddad. I mean, Granny died in 2011, but we didn't spend 2010 with them. And because of the snow, on at least 2 days, no, 1 day we couldn't get into the office, no one turned up, so we were allowed to go home. And then the heat broke or something, and we were legally not allowed to keep us in there if it's below a certain temperature or something. And one day there was a water leak or something, I don't know. So I didn't spend a bit. It was a nightmare. And very swiftly early on, for some reason, I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to get a haircut or shave until this is until I either get a job or this is done. And, you know, I did try, because the absolute mundane thing about this 13-week thing was that you spent something like, I think you turned up at 9:30 in the morning. You had to stay there till 5:30, I think. You had, like, I don't know, half an hour, whatever, for lunch, and you were allowed out of the office. But the trouble is, to get back into it, you had to bus in. And we got told once by the flipping Hitler in high heels that ran it and was constantly on at us to go for temporary jobs that only would last a week so they could get their commission. But we were told, try and come back at the same time altogether, because it's winding her up, basically, you know, upstairs, or you could and I did that once and no one answered the bloody thing, so I stopped going out. So long story short, 13 weeks pass and I finally got around to shaving. I remember hacking away. I had these disposable beards. I trimmed it a little with a pair of scissors, and I went through 2, maybe 3 disposable razors, and then I got my hair cut. And coincidentally, I don't think I've had my hair cut now in almost a year, which sounds tragic, but also at the same time sounds quite accurate. And it got cut so short that this mop only really started to come on in January this year. It's weird. That seems to be the way my hair goes. Gradual, cussing it. And Cousin It Children is from the Addams Family, and I'm referring to the TV series with dear old John Aston, who is still with us, thank God. But yeah, earlier, I don't know what it was, so I thought to myself, well, let's do it, and then, you know, just let it grow out again until I either go back to the buses, because you're not allowed facial hair, or, well, I was told I'm not allowed facial hair. No one else, none of the guys got told that. None of the girls either. Jokey, that's a joke. Don't write letters. We cover all of it here, said Dawn Bickles. I've got an electric razor, and I stupidly thought that the bloody thing could actually hack. And of course, what I forget, that it's gone so messy in terms of its growth and girth. It was making my eyes water because it was twisting there. I was like, oh God. That's the thing, that's the trouble, like that 13-week thing. I just let the thing go. You know, obviously I wash and stuff, but I wasn't like tending to it. Like I wasn't grooming it like you can and people do when beards were a fad. And also I was just rather curious at the fact that it was 3 or 4 shades, including white. And indeed, as I said, I've got more white hair now, thanks to long hair. My God, I've just rabbited about me growing a bit, shaving. But it took me almost an hour. Sat there with a pair of scissors. I have to sit on my toilet next to the basin because I do my vacuum bending over the sink. And before you get any ideas, the toilet lid is down, alright? I'm using it as a seat. And hack. And then I had this bit here, and I was trying, and I couldn't, in the reflection, get it. And I thought, isn't this a fine way to kill myself trying to shave? Ram the scissors into my head. And then when I went with the razor, and the trouble is, it was actually I was actually gritting my teeth because of the, you know, I'm doing that, and all you could do is it sort of like chewing up or whatever, like pulling. It felt like it was like flipping teeth of a piranha. So I had to sit there with the handle of my comb in my mouth, and I actually left teeth marks on it. Bloody hell! It wasn't flipping a Chinese water torture, or as they call it nowadays, waterboarding, but bloody hell, made my eyes water, as I say. And as I say, it took me almost a bloody hour. And look at that. Smooth, not quite smooth as a baby's bottom, as William Wyker said in Star Trek, but it's a difference, isn't it? It's weird. Otherwise, today's been another day in Shitterton, and if anyone thinks I'm cursing much too superfluously, there is actually a village, I believe it's a village, called Shitterton in Dorset. They made the Times of probably about 2010, actually, when I was reading the Times a lot more regularly then, until now, hence my pile of newspapers. And they're in the news because their sign kept getting pinched. You know, you're driving through whatever, and they were getting rather fed up with it, and they were actually like hiring experts to say, well, what can we do? And I think they cemented the bloody thing. And then the Times, being the Times, and I can't believe they'd lied to me, said about the history of Shitterton, where the name came from. And apparently it has quite literally come from the fact that in the Roman days, they built their latrines where the village now. So quite literally, I laugh. I hate people who go literally this, literally that, but quite literally where the Romans came to shit on their way to and from somewhere like Purbeck or something. I don't know. Yeah, another day in Shitterton. I can't remember when I woke up because I've not really had a good night's sleep all week. I had the whole hypersomnia thing probably, and I think I got awoken by downstairs doing their fitness thing, woo, 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 and all this stuff, and you know, are you ready, and all this, and I'm like, oh god, I didn't get to sleep till 2 o'clock, why are you doing this to me? And you know, despite my dreams, Anne Lockhart never materialised. What's that? She's a good 35, 40 years older than me. Actually, no, I tell her lie, she's about 30 years older than me. Oh, hang on. Almost 30. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I got this image of her somehow getting wind of this video. Thinking I'm a bloody creep. Oh well, girls have thought I've been a creep all my life, and they've actually walked away from me. Which, you know, that's a perk of coronavirus. That sounds an awful sentence, forgive me, but I'm, you know, I don't really think before speaking, as you can tell. But this is the one time people do walk away from me with a legitimate reason. Not today, of course. No, not today. I mean, what was it? It was kind of raining, so I took my idiot umbrella, which is broken, and then it stopped raining, and then I realised my hair was thick enough that I'm not actually feeling the drizzle, weirdly enough. Queued up in front of the Smith's, not for the post office. I wanted to get a paper. We bought the paper, bloody Times with its useless supplements. I mean, it's got an article in the Saturday magazine about virtual pornography now. Like, you can, you know, immerse yourself in, and I'm like... and walked like the high street, had a crafty look at Costa. Is it reopening soon? Not till probably the 15th, I'd imagine, if not afterwards. Hairdressers aren't apparently reopening until July. The Times said coincidentally in their paper today, that the government is considering abolishing Sunday trading hours so that shops can open as long as a weekday, if not a little bit longer, and that goes for pubs as well, as a way of making money. The government mooted this in 2012, only for the Olympics. They thought, well, longer days, Olympic fever, blah blah blah, especially in London where the venues were. Most of the venues were anyway. Let's have supermarkets now open till 10 o'clock and that make more money during the, you know, having everyone over here. No, didn't go through, obviously. Apparently they put it forward in 2016, according to the paper, under Cameron. Do you remember him? And traditional Conservatives welched on it, which apparently they will probably do this time round. Matthew Paris had a rather scathing article today. He has an article in the Times every Saturday about Boris. Yeah. And anyway, the library's now got the books and shelves up, which is good because I've read all the books already back at the start of isolation, and they automatically in March extended loans to the end of June, and I just want to get the books out of my flat, you know. And then thought, fuck it, I need stuff. So I went to Morrison's and got straight in through the speedy queue virtually, although I wasn't paying attention. And bloody hell, everyone's in there. You think, well, yeah, obviously it's a supermarket. But other supermarkets, apparently, I mean, Sainsbury's hasn't in Aylesbury, and I don't know about the Tesco because they're out of my way, have got one-way system, you know, for people to follow. And in Aylesbury, that's asking. I think actually, no, I said I've heard that Tesco, one of the two Tesco, because we got two of the mega stores, pardon me, has got a one-way system. And being Aylesbury, no one knows how to follow signs on the floor. I wish I could say that I was a little bit blotto. I'm not even a little. I'm not blotto. Cheap lager from Morrison's, because you know it's the evening, I can't go to the pub. Nothing. Two of these things, nothing. You know, it would be nice if it were a little bit fuzzy. Where was I? And Morrison's don't have any of that. They've managed to rope off at the end of half of the aisles because they're trying to make it simpler, well, safer for people with trolleys. So they come down the aisles and they go straight through the tills rather than sort of in and around like you do usually. And you have to go all the way down if you have a basket to go up around the self-service. And the beauty is now, because until recently, most supermarkets, every other self-service was in action so that you're not close to people. And you know what my pet peeve is, by the way? People who are still bringing their shopping trolleys into a self-service area where there's a sweet FA room. Morrison's actually are telling people, so you know, like I said the other week, you know, 2 people I saw tried to come in with trolleys. They got politely told to go to the sit-down tills, as we called them at M&S, and Sainsbury's don't seem to be bothering. Anyway, Morrison's now got like big plastic dividers, whatever you want to call them, glass partitions, that's the word I was looking for, and that's good because they, you know, that's 6 or 7. So anyway, like I say, I know shops reasonably well for my hot sins, and do search. I go around like a bloody Polaris missile on heat. I know where I'm going. So boom, 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 boom. The trouble is, I forgot something. I realised that chocolate or something, and was coming back from the far end where the alcohol is, and stood to one side by the freezers and looked, and if I'd taken a photo of it, it would have been fair because the angle probably wouldn't do any justice, but like 20 people blocking down the aisle in front of me. I mean, the 2 metre thing is an absolute joke, and before anyone goes, well, the government has it. No, fuck off, we can't keep blaming the government for everything, and trust me, you know, the only time I've properly blamed the government was during that 13-week course, because it was a Gordon Brown idea, and no one on that 13-week course, well, one person did, but his job only lasted a month. No one on that 13-week course got jobs, and when I did get interviews, the company running it tried talking me out of going over it, because apparently it wasn't enough hours to get me off the course. So I went to the job centre and said, so-and-so at this thing won't let me go for the interview at Amersham Library because it's, I can't remember what it was now, 8 hours a week or something. And she goes, no, that's nonsense. It's a job. It's putting money on. It will get you off job seekers probably because it's 8 hours a week and all this stuff. I didn't get the job, obviously. And you're thinking, well, you can't blame Gordon Brown for that. No, well, the irony is that the jobs I've gotten under a Conservative government, and now I could, for the first time, be losing a job under a Conservative government. Don't write letters, I don't care anymore. It just pisses me off sometimes, you know, the way we are as a species. I really do wish I was born in the 20s and that, so I could have grown up and flown Spitfires or done something meaningful. I know what people would say. I just, you know, it was so damn self-centred and so damn selfish, and faces in phones, don't look where we walk. You get sworn at if you bump into somebody when it's their fault. If it's my fault, yeah, I'll put my hands up to it. I said to my brother a few times that flipping walked into somebody and, you know, got a look, and it was my fault. I know when I'm in the wrong. God help me, I'm my own worst enemy, I'm my own, you know, worst critic. And it's just like, everyone in Morrison's, you know, you just want to sort of give a Frasier Crane style, look at yourselves. And so I got in there, started walking home, and what is it? Suddenly heard thumping. I thought to myself, weird. My floor was vibrating, and then next thing you know, for the next 30 to 45 minutes, we had one of the most intense thunderstorms around here for 2 years, when the sky flipping blackened at 3-4 o'clock, when, you know, up until Thursday it's been like broad daylight with no clouds, and it looked like it was mostly going away to the left there, past, you know, about a quarter of a mile away from the road, and it suddenly caned it down. It sounded like The thing is with this flat, it seems whenever it rains, even though obviously it rains all over, it mostly hits the back of my flat as opposed to the front. And then it held stone, and it was like flipping it. And every time it rumbled, my floor was vibrating. And I have a flat roof on this thing, and it sounded like I was in a drum. And that's the day. Reading started on the first Ian Fleming Bond book, first of the so-called continuation books by Kingsley Amis, writing under alias Warwick Markham, Colonel Somewhere. The villains are Chinese. We didn't get away with that nowadays because the Chinese would make sure the book was never published properly. About to watch the last 2 episodes of that 70s show. Season 8's absolute write-off. If they kept it like the first episode of Season 8, where there was no addition of Randy, and kept it to the gang, it could have feasibly worked as a final season. Instead, though it's been feeling a little bit tired since Season 6, and definitely into Season 7, it just feels... the jokes are... Some of it can be funny, mostly involving the adults, but... Donna suddenly getting involved with Randy, who is meant to be a replacement as a character anyway for Eric, and in a Ray Kelso. And he fancies himself a bit much, I think, does old Randy. He thinks he's funny as well. Apparently, the actor who plays him is the brother of Seth Meyers, American chat show host. And, there's certain sitcoms that I watch that make me feel a little bit happy, that I can sort of lose myself in. And Sony Show is one of them, as I say. And I need to get a girlfriend. Well, I would, but what's the point? It's bloody hair. So, if I haven't, I should have started the video actually talking about the bloody thunderstorm, because I'm going to put the little video I recorded of the rain. No one watches this, so what does it matter? At the front of it, and actually, I watched totally out of random because I was switching TV channels. Euro 96, Scotland versus England, when England won 2-0, and my god, they showed it live, and they had this little preamble of Gary Logan, and then Gary Logan goes, we'll go now to Des Lynam. I thought, you what? And then I realised they were showing it live, and as far as I recall, I only ever saw the semi-final live. I don't think Mum and Dad were in particular mood to watch football matches, but Mum let her, and I have such fond memories of that summer, even though the memory is quite hazy now, in a way. But it was a nice hot summer. I was still at primary school. I mean, I was 11. It was a couple months shy of me turning 12. Oh my god. No, sorry, hang on. I was 10. I lied. 10, a couple months shy of turning 11. And England had a really shitty start to it. They conceded in the first game to draw 1-1 with Switzerland. We were the host nation as well, which was something else special. I had a nice sticker album, I think, for it. And England made the semis. Beat Scotland. Beat Holland, I think it was 4-0 to get out of the groups. We beat Spain on penalties, which was quite a big thing because of Stuart Pearce went nuts celebrating because the last penalty I think he took was in the World Cup semi in 90. And there must have been another match in a row. I want to say we played Italy or something, but I can't honestly remember it because obviously it goes group stage, something quarters, semis maybe. I can't remember. And we were allowed, it was a school night I think, we were allowed to stay up, me and my brothers, although Ian, my youngest brother, would have been 5, and we played Germany. It was the first match and indeed the only match in the tournament. We had to play in our away strip, I think, that sort of off blue, which meant Seaman had to wear that garish red and yellow mess, whereas the yellow and green thing he wore up until then was actually rather attractive, and the kit was quite nice. I like how it had sort of like the names sort of had a highlighted edge, and I still remember Anderton scissoring the ball into the pillar. Gascoigne missed in sudden edge time, and it was a golden goal, inches, and then the penalties, and Gareth Southgate hit the post, and we were done. Yeah, but watching the Scotland game, bloody hell. To think that was 24 years ago. I mean, the people in that they were zooming in on would be in their, could be in their 50s, 60s now, because they kept zooming in on young adults. The team none of the team I don't think play first team football anymore. Redknapp was still playing. That's the thing. Jamie Redknapp, Steve McManaman, Paul Ince, Gary Neville, Siemens, even Steve Stone, Shearer, Sheringham, Gascoigne, Anderton. I mean, bloody hell. That was the team. That was my favourite England team. And not until the World Cup the other year have I ever felt such elation for England team before or since, really. And also it was on BBC Grandstand with the Grandstand theme. Oh my god, I miss Grandstand. And this is a measure, by the way, of how far the BBC have fallen, really, as far as being a sports. They got Wimbledon and stuff, but football was part of it, obviously. And they've announced which matches are going to be shown on what channel, because the Premier League, it's going to be hitting the ground running every day there from June 20th to July 4th. There's going to be matches. And BBC have gotten Bournemouth versus Palace and Norwich versus Everton, and all due respect to the teams involved, not exactly matches that everyone. And it's a shame, because it's the first time since the Premier League started in 1992 that the BBC has shown live matches, because they usually show the FA Cup or whatever. They don't show Premier League matches ever. The closest, I guess, is England matches, because they're full of Premier League players. It's a shame, but all the other matches, BT, Sky and Amazon and the BBC, we don't have Grandstand anymore. Even when final scores on the Saturday, it's not part of a larger thing. Grandstand had the horse race, and it had rowing if it was on, even tennis sometimes, and whatever. And you had Steve Ryder and Des Lynam and Ray Stubbs and a few others who I can't think of immediately, but my god, my youth, it was shit, personally. But compared to now, 1996, yeah, alright, the Conservative government had been in power forever, the leadership was stagnated, the country had had enough. The next year Labour came in a landslide, 13 years of Labour power after that. But 1996, I was at primary school, I was being bullied horrifically, and home life wasn't terribly good, but I didn't have to worry about the shit I had to. Now, I hadn't tried to kill myself when I was 10 years old. Well, on that happy note, I'm going to stop, because my phone now is at 5%, the message has just flashed up, and as always, my single digit viewership. Thank you for joining us in Shea Hilly.